What's your no one will ever believe this true story? You know how sometimes you have experiences that sound so unbelievable, you feel like people will think you're just making it up? Well, let me tell you about the time I literally ended up in the middle of a national treasure hunt. Unexpected, but completely true. It all started on a lazy Sunday afternoon when I decided to take a spontaneous drive out to the countryside for a little fresh air. I was meandering down these picturesque backroads, completely lost in my thoughts, when I stumbled upon a small hiking trail nestled beside a glimmering creek. Feeling adventurous, I parked my car and decided to explore. A few minutes into my hike, I saw something unusual. A small, weathered sign partially hidden by overgrown bushes. It read, "Treasure of Willow Woods." I chuckled to myself, thinking it was just some quirky local legend. But the twinge of curiosity got the better of me, so I decided to follow the trail further. As I walked, the path opened up to a secluded clearing. In the middle stood an ancient tree, its trunk twisted and gnarled, with a shallow hole at its base that looked like it had been dug out recently. I couldn't resist. It felt like an invitation. I crouched down and peered into the hole, and what I found made my heart race. Buried just beneath the surface was a small, locked iron box covered in rust. Without a thought, I reached in and pulled it out. Just then, I heard rustling in the bushes nearby. Thinking I might not be alone, I looked to my right and spotted a group of 3 people, each carrying flashlights and maps. At that moment, I realized I had stumbled into a real treasure hunt. One of them, a tall guy wearing a vintage hat, approached me cautiously. "Did you find it?" he asked, excitement dancing in his eyes. When I showed them the locked box, they erupted in cheers and practically dragged me back to their camp nearby. Apparently, they had been searching this area for weeks, following clues that pointed to the legendary treasure rumored to be hidden in Willow Woods. As we gathered around their campfire, I learned that this was no ordinary treasure hunt. They were part of a local society dedicated to unearthing historical artifacts left by early settlers in the region. They explained that the box might contain valuable documents, and they absolutely needed my help to open it. Their enthusiasm was infectious, and despite my skepticism about the box containing anything valuable, I couldn't resist the adventure. Together, we attempted various methods to open the lock, but nothing worked. Finally, after what felt like hours, a girl in the group suggested we try a combination involving the numbers of the dates carved into the tree itself. After all, it was the oldest in the area. To my absolute shock, we entered the combination, and the lock clicked open. The box creaked as we lifted the lid, and inside were old letters, maps, and journals. The group erupted in cheers again. They had uncovered pieces of history that could rewrite the local narrative. After hours of sharing stories and combing through the letters, I parted ways with them, feeling like I had experienced something truly magical. When I got home, I couldn't wait to tell my friends about the day I found a treasure chest and joined a treasure hunt. But to my surprise, they looked at me as if I had lost my mind. "Come on, you expect us to believe that?" they said, laughing. No one believed my story. They thought it was just another one of my wild adventures. But let me tell you, that day was no fairy tale. It was real, and while I could recount every detail, I learned that sometimes the most incredible experiences remain underappreciated or become the stuff of urban legend. Still, that adventure became my secret, my unbelievable story that I can always pull out when the mood calls for it. So if you ever find yourself in Willow Woods, keep an eye out for a twisted tree. Who knows, you might just find your own treasure.